Do you believe that Britney was to Diddy and or
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cassie just name dropped Britney Spears in the Diddy trial as she was on the stand.
And Diddy inviting heavyweights like Britney to flex his class.
How is music boss Diddy linked to pop star Britney Spears? A surprise connection showed up in court and changed everything. The courtroom got very tense when they showed proof of their link at the strange Freaks-Off's party. What was Diddy hiding? And why did he get so angry?
Do you believe that Britney was to Diddy and or
Absolutely. Absolutely. All of those girls, all of those Mickey Mouse girls, including Christina Aguilera, all of these children have been big. Part of the reason why they can't tell you is because they were drugged when most of what was happening to them was happening. And what they have left are the memories and the nightmares.
Do you believe that Bieber has been trying to expose Diddy for years? Because if you look at his Yummy video, there's a lot of indicators that he was trying to expose what these elites are really doing to children. He used pizza images a lot.
Rihanna, all of them. Listen to their music after they get their big hit record and their deal. That Lou Taylor is friends with Diddy. They're all listed on the charter of that same church.
Over here. Y'all can bring the 500 cameras over here. Y'all can bring it to George Clooney or Tom Cruise or Will Smith.
So you're saying give Britney a break?
Give Britney or any woman or children, you're supposed to have rules to the game. There's supposed to be, there gotta be rules to the game. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And don't put nobody in danger driving, you know? I think that right now everybody's treating everybody in the world like they can't make a mistake or they have to be this perfect thing, whether it's Barack Obama, Reverend Wright, whether it's Miley Cyrus or, you know, Britney Spears. Everybody has to be perfect. And life ain't like that.
Cassie just name dropped Britney Spears in the Diddy trial as she was on the stand testifying. She said, Sean was there and he brought Dallas Austin, Britney Spears. I think those were the two that stand out to me. Now, what she is talking about is her 21st birthday party that took place on September 8th, 2007. The picture is right above. You see Britney with Diddy, Paris Hilton, and then there's Dallas Austin next to her.
This is gonna blow your mind. This is the evolution of Britney Spears from 2000 to 2024. And look what happened in 2003. Who's this guy? Anyone recognize him? And also pay attention to what happens in 2007.
Right now, P. Diddy is looking at spending the rest of his life in prison for human trafficking and also assault towards Cassie Ventura, who was his ex-girlfriend. Cassie Ventura has explained that one way P. Diddy would always try to manipulate her was trying and getting other celebrities to come to parties, with one example being Britney Spears, who came to Cassie's 21st birthday party. That birthday party was actually the night before the 2007 VMAs, where Britney Spears had one of the worst performances of her career, and many called it the beginning of the end. And after that happened, Britney Spears actually came out apologizing for the performance, saying she was extremely tired, having no sleep the night before, and did admit to being hungover. Now it's been insinuated that story actually goes much deeper, where P. Diddy might have tried to set Britney Spears up that night, getting her drunk on purpose and keeping her up to try and get her to have a bad performance. From the point of view that P. Diddy had this idea that if Britney Spears' career tanked and she was losing popularity, she would be more reluctant to sign with his record label instead. From Cassie Ventura's point of view, she said that Britney Spears was just a pawn to P. Diddy to try and get her at that birthday party for Cassie, so she'd be so impressed she would date P. Diddy. It actually worked because that was the first night ever Cassie Ventura did kiss P. Diddy. For Britney Spears, it's not likely she was ever seriously abused by P. Diddy, but it definitely seems like she was a pawn in his plans, and with that I'm Charles Sproul. Subscribe to learn something.
What is the Freaks-Off's party? And why is it causing so much drama? For years, people in Hollywood would talk about it in secret. They whispered about it at parties, but never talked about it in public. Many said it was a super private party for famous stars. Only a few people were invited, and it was so secret that even big Hollywood names didn't speak of it out loud. The place where the party happened was always changing. That made it more mysterious. People said the things happening at the party were not normal, not the kind of fun you'd think of with rich and famous people. For a long time, no one knew for sure what went on. Only blogs and secret stories talked about it. It all seemed like rumors. Until now. This court trial has changed everything. For the first time, real proof was shown. It made people realize these parties may have been a big part of how powerful stars made deals, built friendships, and maybe even did things that could hurt their careers. It was not just about fun and fancy clothes. It was about secrets that could ruin lives. People say these parties had wild behavior. If true, it would shock fans and damage many famous people's names. But the exact details stayed a mystery. That mystery kept people curious. One thing that kept coming up in all the rumors was the name Sean Diddy Combs. Diddy is a very famous music man. People said he planned and went to these parties. With all his fame and power, it made sense. He had the connections to keep things quiet. Even though people talked about his role, there was never proof. Until this trial. Now, the court has shown things that point right at him. The people trying to prove the case say Diddy helped start these parties and kept them going. But just when it looked like things couldn't get more shocking, another name came up, Britney Spears. Yes, Britney, the pop star everyone knows. She was once sweet and innocent, then became a rebel. Now, her name is being linked to these secret parties. No one saw that coming. When people in court heard her name, they couldn't believe it. It made everything feel even more serious. Even news experts say this trial shows how fast stories about stars can change. What was once just gossip is now a big part of the case. The Freaks Offs party used to be just a rumor. Now, it's at the center of a huge courtroom drama. But people still want to know, how does Britney really fit into all this? Was she really there? Did she know what was going on? Or is there more to the story that we don't know yet? The court showed things that shocked everyone. The stories were even bigger than what had been shared in secret before. Still, the biggest question stays. Was Britney part of this hidden world, or is there something else we're missing?
Now, instead of showing a photo at the end of 2024, I'm going to show you a video of how she looks now as of a month ago, so stay tuned. But here, the famous meltdown 2027, I also found her reportedly going to Diddy parties in 2007, and then the whole situation. Coincidence? I don't know. You be the judge. Either way, she's looking pretty good afterwards, as if, she survived Diddy. I have nothing bad to say about Britney Spears. I hope everything's going well for her. I hope she continues to be successful. But at some point soon, it does look like she starts to become a slightly different person. But I'll let you guys be the judge. What do you think? Is it the same person from here to here and moving forward? Do we have a different Britney? Has she just aged? Is it none of my business? Is it none of all of our business? Either way, stick around, because in 2024, she has made an appearance about a month ago, and you're about to see what that is. I'm gonna get out the way. Here you are.
I forget I'm famous sometimes.
2024.
I'm kind of old, but I thought it was kind of cool. The Sabrina girl, Carpenter, she said something about me. I was like, thanks, that's cool. She made me cool. Okay, maybe not.
According to a bombshell report by Shutterscoop, Diddy's been bragging for years about hooking up with Britney that very night. A longtime associate claims Diddy told this story dozens of times, laughing about how Britney was crazy in bed and out of control. He thought it made him look like a player, another notch on his belt. Photos from that night show Britney and Diddy cozying up together. Her eyes are hidden behind sunglasses indoors at night. Just to keep that in mind. Now, she was looking like she could barely hold herself together. In 2007, Britney was 25, a global superstar, but her life was unraveling. She lost custody of her two young sons, was battling addiction, and was trapped in a toxic conservatorship that controlled her every move. The media was ruthless, painting her as a fallen idol. Meanwhile, Diddy was at the peak of his power. Bad Boy Records mogul, fashion icon, party king.
How does one of the biggest pop stars get linked to a secret and strange world? That's what everyone in the courtroom wanted to know when new proof was shown that connected Britney Spears to the Freaks Offs party. From the moment the judge said it was okay to use her name, the feeling in the room changed. The trial was already full of shocking claims, but this one made it even more serious. People gasped out loud, and even reporters who had seen many wild cases were surprised. Everyone looked at Diddy. He sat still, not showing any feelings, while the lawyers showed their new evidence. The proof came from private messages found on a secret app. This app was said to be used to plan the fancy and hidden parties. The court showed emails and texts on big screens. The messages were put in order to show that Britney was invited to, and even went to, at least 2 of the secret parties. One message talked about a white-hot headliner making a surprise visit. Another message clearly said Britney would be the special guest at the event. That message got everyone talking. These emails were from years ago, a time when Britney's Life was already under the spotlight. She was being watched by the media and caught in a legal fight over her conservatorship. The biggest moment came when a person stood in court and talked about the messages. This person used to work as an assistant for someone who helped plan the parties. They said they saw Britney's name in the guest logs and even remembered her. Being at one of the events, they said Britney came in a private car, was quickly brought inside, and wasn't allowed to mix much with the others. She stayed away from most of the people there. But even with her being alone, the fact that she was at the party shocked everyone. That wasn't all. The court also showed a picture. It was dark and blurry, but there was a blonde woman in the background. Many thought she looked just like Britney. The lawyers and the person who took the stand both said they believed it was her. The time when all this happened made things even harder to understand. These events took place while Britney was still under control by the court system. This made people wonder, was she there because she wanted to be, or did someone force her to go? That thought made everything feel more serious, as more proof was shared. It became clear that Britney's name had become a big part of the trial. People had always seen her as either a pop star or someone being used by others. Now, her name was in court, linked to a strange and shocking story. Was she part of it, or was she being used again? Whatever the truth is, one thing is clear. Her, linked to the Freaks-Offs party, was one of the biggest surprises in court. And for Diddy, the trouble was just getting started. What did he think when all this came out?
More pictures from that night. There's Britney. Obviously, that's Cassie and Diddy. More pictures from that night. Britney standing next to Diddy, 50 Cent, Paris. Another one from that night. Britney with Diddy, Cassie. Why is this important? Well, September 8th, 2007 was the night before the MTV Video Music Awards, the 2007 MTV Video Music Awards, where Britney Spears performed her now infamous performance of Gimme More. Now, also why it's important, because Lou Taylor and Robin Greenhill from TriStar Sports and Entertainment allegedly were the ones that orchestrated Britney's conservatorship to begin with, and they have been named in this Diddy lawsuit multiple times. It's a little bit jarring because the Britney fandom has always had questions about that night. These pictures are not new. We've seen these pictures for a long time, but we've always had questions on what went on that night because Britney just didn't seem okay the next day.
It's September 7th, 2007, and Las Vegas is buzzing. The Strip's alive with neon lights, thumping music, and A-list celebs are bouncing from club to club. Britney Spears, the pop princess herself, is at Pure Nightclub for Cassie Ventura's 21st birthday bash, hosted by none other than Sean Diddy Combs. Paris Hilton's there, music producer Dallas Austin is in the mix, and the VIP section's a chaotic swirl of champagne, flashing cameras, and a lot of narcissistic egos. Anyway, Britney's already under a microscope, fresh off her divorce from Kevin Federline. That head-shaping moment, you guys remember that back then? And the relentless paparazzi stalking her every move. She's trying to claw her way back with a new single, Gimme More. Now, that was set to debut at the MTV VMAs in 2 ways. But that night, tonight, she's partying and the world was not watching.
The moment Britney Spears' name was said in court, everyone looked at Diddy. He was sitting at the defense table. His body didn't move, but his jaw got tight. Before that, he had looked calm. He sat with his arms crossed, sometimes talking to his lawyers. Even when the trial became serious, he stayed cool. But when the lawyers started talking about Britney being part of the Freaks-Offs party, his face changed. He leaned forward a little. He held his hands tight on the table and stared at the screen showing the messages and proof. He didn't move much, but you could see something was wrong. The room got really quiet. People could hear only papers moving and soft gasps from the people watching. The lawyers had just finished showing text messages about Britney getting invited to the parties. Then, they shared something even bigger, a witness's statement. This person said Britney was a big part of one party. That's when Diddy started to lose his cool. He didn't yell or stand up, but his eyes moved fast toward his lawyers. He looked worried. He seemed to say something, but no one heard what it was. He let out a short breath, like he was trying not to explode. The next part made it worse. A picture came up on the screen. It was supposed to show Britney at one of the parties. That's when Diddy really reacted. He moved back quickly in his chair. He took his arms off the table and crossed them tightly. He turned his head slightly toward the crowd. He didn't say a word, but his body said a lot. He started tapping his foot on the floor. Then, he shook his head like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. It was a real moment in a trial that had mostly been very controlled. The people outside the courtroom noticed, too. Legal experts and news reporters quickly started talking about Diddy's body language. Some said he looked like he felt guilty. Others said he looked like someone who had just heard lies and didn't know how to handle it. No matter what they thought, one thing was clear. Everyone saw it. It was all over the news within hours. Videos and pictures showed his every move. People were guessing what it all meant. Diddy's lawyers knew this could be a problem. They tried to fix it fast. They told the media that Diddy wasn't scared or guilty. They said he was just angry that the court accepted bad proof. During a break, one of Diddy's lawyers even told reporters, off the record, that using Britney's name was just a trick to make things more dramatic. But their answer only made people talk more. Now everyone was wondering what Diddy's face and body had really shown. What surprised people the most was how Diddy acted after the break. He came back to court and looked very stiff. He didn't look around or talk. He just sat still, like something inside him had changed. Was it guilt? Was he shocked? Was he upset? No one could say for sure, but something was different. Was Diddy hiding something? And what was Britney's real role in this whole strange story?
Now, after they left Pure, they moved to 50 Cent's after party at the Hard Rock Hotel. And the night, it stretched into the early hours of the morning. Insiders say that Britney was glass-eyed, disoriented, clinging to Diddy in a way that raised everyone's eyebrows. Now, fast forward to September 9th, 2007. Britney takes the stage at the VMAs to perform Gimme More. It's supposed to be her big comeback, the moment she proves she's still got it. Instead, it's a train wreck. She stumbles through the choreography, lip syncs off beat, and looks like she's somewhere else entirely. Critics rip her apart, calling it the lowest point of her career. Fans, well, they're left heartbroken. Britney later admits in her 2023 memoir, The Woman in Me, that she hadn't slept that night before, had a panic attack backstage, and felt forced to perform despite begging to back out. She wrote, "I knew it was going to be bad. I was a mess." But what she didn't say, and what's now coming to light, Cassie Ventura, his then girlfriend, was a rising R&B star signed to his label. That Vegas night was her 21st birthday, and Diddy pulled out all the stops, inviting heavyweights like Britney to flex his clout. But here's the problem. Diddy's not looking so untouchable anymore. In September of 2024, as we know, he was arrested on federal charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, transportation for prostitution. He's been in a Brooklyn detention center ever since, pleading not guilty, of course. But the evidence is piling up, okay? We've been covering the case. Cassie's 2023 lawsuit against him, settled out of court for $20 million, accused him of rape, physical abuse, and forcing her into drug-fueled freak-offs, which we know was with all these male escorts from around the country, and she's getting it on while he watches. Her testimony in Diddy's ongoing trial, which, like I said, we've been covering, is where Britney's name first resurfaced.
Why did Britney Spears go to these secret parties? And how was she part of the strange world around the Freaks-Offs party? These were the big questions people had after the lawyers finished speaking. The things said about Britney made it hard to know what was true. The court showed things that made it seem like Britney didn't just go to the parties. She may have been brought there in a way that didn't feel right. People who gave their stories said this started back when Britney was going through hard times. That was when she was under her conservatorship, where other people made choices for her. One person told the court they saw Britney go to a Freaks-Offs party sometime in the early 2010s. She came in a black SUV and was taken inside fast. The person said Britney looked quiet and not like the other people there, who were acting wild and loud. That made people wonder, did she want to be there, or did someone make her go? There were also messages and emails shown in court. Some of them said Britney was going to be a big surprise at the party. The lawyer said these messages showed she was invited on purpose, maybe to be the main attraction. But it still wasn't clear. Did she say yes? Or was she pushed into it? Well, one email from 2012 was important. It said Britney was not sure about going, but it also said some important people made sure she would be there anyway. That made people think even more about how much power others had over her life. If she didn't want to go but still ended up there, it might mean something serious. All of this didn't match how people saw Britney back then. Fans thought of her as a famous singer who was being controlled by others. She was fighting to live her own life. But now, this new information made her story sound different. Maybe she was pulled into strange and secret things without even wanting to. Some people who support Britney said this was just one more way she was being used. They believed people in charge of her life may have made her go to these parties. It's a scary thought, and people in the courtroom couldn't stop thinking about it. The biggest shock came when the lawyers showed another photo. This one was clearer. It showed a woman who looked like Britney standing alone in a corner at one of the parties. She was not with the crowd. She looked like she didn't want to be there. The picture wasn't perfect, but it made a big impact. People online started talking about it right away. Some were angry, others were confused. Many asked, did Britney even know what she was part of? Even with all these clues, no one really knows how involved Britney was. The stories and photos show something strange, but they don't give a full answer. Was she there because she wanted to be? Or was she made to go? The trial is not over yet. Diddy's team is expected to speak about Britney's role soon.
Cassie told the jury that Diddy invited Britney and Dallas Austin, her ex-boyfriend, to her Vegas birthday party, and that the beginning of the relationship was kind of marked publicly with a kiss. Photos from Getty Images confirm Britney was there, posing with Diddy, Cassie, and Austin at Jet nightclub, another spot they hit that night. Now, I'm not sure of the mechanics of how her relationship worked, but Cassie was with Dallas Austin first. He was her producer. Then Diddy met Cassie and signed her, and that's when he made the move to take her away from Dallas Austin. So I don't know if Cassie was still with Dallas at that time, and this is when Diddy made his move, or would Dallas come to her party after Diddy has like snatched her away? I don't know how it works, but it's all crazy. But understand, this was the very beginning of Cassie and Diddy's relationship, or close to it. And this is also where allegedly the violence began. Witnesses like Cassie's makeup artist, Mila Morales, who testified, and Diddy's former assistant, George Kaplan, okay, they both testified about seeing Cassie with bruises and injuries allegedly from Diddy's violence. Kaplan even quit working for Diddy because he felt shook by the rapper's actions towards the women in his life. Not only seeing just like small things with Cassie, but another woman named Gina. And this also includes a 2015 incident where Diddy was on a private jet to Vegas and started abusing Cassie right there on the plane in front of everyone.
Did the defense have a convincing explanation for Britney's alleged involvement? That was the burning question as Diddy's legal team finally rose to confront the shocking claims tying her to the infamous Freaks Offs party. Up until now, the courtroom had been dominated by scandal, surprise witness statements, and leaked messages. But now, it was time for the defense to respond, to break apart the prosecution's narrative and challenge what many believed was already a damning connection. The defense made their position clear from the outset. Britney Spears was being dragged into something she had no part in, based purely on flimsy evidence and public obsession with her troubled past. They argued that the prosecution had leaned too heavily on sensationalism, using Britney's name as a lightning rod to inflame emotions and attract attention. They're not building a case, one of Diddy's lawyers told the court. They're building a headline. To that end, they attacked the witnesses first. According to the defense, multiple people who claimed to have seen Britney at these parties had offered conflicting stories over the years. One key witness, they revealed, had reportedly changed their version of events several times during pre-trial interviews. This inconsistency, they said, cast major doubt on whether Britney was ever truly present, but their most forceful challenge came against the digital evidence, the messages and emails that seemed to suggest Britney was invited and even featured at these elite gatherings. To refute this, the defense brought in a forensic technology expert who raised doubts about the authenticity of the digital trail. Without full access to the original servers, the expert testified, there's no way to confirm who sent these messages or whether they were altered. The defense leaned into this point hard, calling the evidence fragments, not facts, and warning the jury against making assumptions based on incomplete data. Next came the photo, the grainy image that supposedly showed Britney in the background of one of the parties. The defense argued it was a classic case of mistaken identity. Another expert, this time in image analysis, testified that the quality of the photo was too poor to reach a reliable conclusion. Using a side-by-side comparison, the expert showed how lighting, angles, and shadows could easily distort a person's appearance. This isn't evidence, the expert said. It's a guess. While these points cast some doubt, they didn't go unchallenged. The prosecution quickly rebutted, noting that the email chains had been validated through multiple independent sources, weakening the defense's claim about unverifiable data. They also highlighted that no witness had outright retracted their testimony, only clarified details as more information became available. Public reaction to the defense's approach was sharply divided. Some felt they had successfully shown the Britney allegations were built on speculation and coincidence. Others, however, saw the defense's strategy as little more than misdirection, a way to sow enough uncertainty to distract from the deeper truths of the case. Social media platforms lit up with debate. Legal commentators argued over whether the defense's focus on technical doubt would be enough to sway the jury. While the defense had introduced skepticism, they had not delivered a clear, alternative explanation for why Britney's name kept appearing in messages, photos, and testimony. And yet, their tactics echoed strategies seen in other high-profile celebrity trials. Plant enough seeds of doubt, and you may not need to prove innocence, only disprove certainty. But even as some observers praised the legal maneuvering, others questioned the ethics of dismissing serious allegations through technicalities. What was increasingly evident was that this trial wasn't just about Diddy anymore. It had grown into something far more complex, a public reckoning with celebrity, privacy, power, and manipulation. Britney's role in all of this, whether active, coerced, or misunderstood, had taken on a life of its own in the court of public opinion. Was she truly entangled in this underground world, or was she just another figure placed under a microscope during a time of personal vulnerability? The defense's rebuttal may have softened the blow, but it did not erase the questions. Not for the jury, not for the media, and certainly not for the millions watching from the sidelines. Now, both Britney and Diddy's reputations hang in the balance. The trial of Sean Diddy Combs has become more than a legal battle. It's a mirror held up to the darkest parts of the entertainment industry where fame, influence, and secrecy collide. So what do you think? Was Britney pulled into something beyond her control, or is this all just smoke without fire? The truth, it seems, is still buried under layers of power, fear, and silence.